What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third episode of the POPAHOLICS podcast. Today is October 1st, 2019. I am one of your hosts here, Franklyn McInnis, and of course, I have my co-host with me, Collecting Plastic.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, I do want to start off here by just talking about, things that we've been checking out lately, what's been going on with us here. And in Collecting Plastic, I'm going to let you actually kick it off for us.
Okay, so I saw one of the funniest things I've seen in a while this weekend. I had some company over, and I make shepherd's pie, and everybody always loves it, right? But whenever I do, I go online and refresh my memory because I make Gordon Ramsay's recipe, and he has his shepherd's pie video on YouTube. It's only 2 minutes long, so that already tells you what kind of video this thing is. I mean, this guy makes a whole shepherd's pie, and the video is only 2 minutes. It is edited in such a crazy way with like zoom ins and shaky cam, and like it seems like it was directed by Michael Bay after he stormed. And but that's not even the funny part, is because it's actually a great recipe. But the funny part is that comment section for that YouTube or for that video, it is just so funny. There's so many comedians in that comment section. Every comment is just hilarious, one after the other, man. Definitely recommend looking up Gordon Ramsay's shepherd's pie video, watch it, and then read those comments. It is hilarious.
Yeah, if you can remember, maybe that'd be something you want to link for the people, down in the
Oh
comments
yeah,
so they
okay,
could
I
check
will.
that out. That's something we'll try to do in the future. Some of the things that we reference, maybe we will, try to remember to put some links. These podcasts, sometimes by the end, we might forget, but we'll do our best with
Yeah.
that. Anything else that you, like checked out recently?
Also, Birds of Prey trailer. What did you think?
I'll tell you, so this by now is like the third preview basically. The first one was very odd because it felt like I think like a lot of people described it like a Hot Topic commercial basically, because it really
Yeah, that
was
was
like
weird.
it was like a costume fitting basically. It didn't show anything about the plot. And then the one after that, again, it was so brief. The one that played before it, chapter 2, really just didn't give nearly enough. So this one still doesn't give a whole lot. I think it does show that Margot Robbie has really even more so, delved into the character. Like she just is Harley Quinn at this point. It does worry me though because I'm like they're not really showing the other characters, and it's like, are they actually going to get any real love within this movie, or are they just going to be background players for her? That's what I'm a little concerned about.
So I'm getting the same feeling that I got with Suicide Squad, basically. Um, the trailer looks great. It looks awesome. If those other characters weren't in it, I might like it better. Maybe they're integral to the story, but I feel Suicide Squad should have been a Joker and Harley Quinn movie versus Batman. That's what it should have been. This, I think, should have been maybe a straight up Harley Quinn movie, maybe one sidekick or something, but all these other characters don't look like what they're supposed to look like. Um, if I didn't know that that was Huntress, I would never guess that's the Huntress or whatever, or even Black Mask. Um, I really like Harley Quinn in it. Love it. And I think it looks good. Like, not that the movie looks like it's going to be good, but visually, I really like the visuals and some of the things they're doing. It almost seems like part of this stuff is taking place in her mind, and it's gonna
Yeah.
like make it look like show how crazy she is. I like that,
Yeah,
but not
I'm
Black
with the
Mask.
visuals. I like and I like that what you're saying there about it. Some of it being, from her perspective, so maybe some things are skewed. But I don't know, like some of what I've seen with the movie, some of it does like have some nice coloring and everything to it, the lighting and all of that. But then it doesn't really look like a lived-in world to me from a lot of what I've seen thus far. It really does. There are some moments that really look like, okay, that's a movie set. It
Yeah,
it looks just a little too clean. I would wish it was more kind of dirty and gritty, almost like a grindhouse type of feel to it. Which I
yeah.
gotta say, have you seen the Suicide Squad animated movies?
I saw one of them, but I think I saw the one where they're escaping from Arkham, maybe.
Was
I liked
Attack
it
on
all
Arkham,
right.
I
Yeah,
think.
Attack on Arkham. I liked it all right, but certain characters really take me out of it. Like that big shark guy
King Shark,
is
yeah.
just too fantastical, too goofy for me. It was okay though.
Well, what I like about the animated movies though is that to me, the relationship between Harley Quinn and Joker made more sense than what they did in the Suicide Squad movie, the
Yeah,
live action movie,
they screwed that up.
because yeah, she was essentially like helping Joker to get out. She's acting like she's mad at him, but she's actually helping him out. And
Hmm.
then it turns out that he was really using her. The only reason he even wanted her was because he had hidden something inside of her mallet. So I like that, and I thought they should have did something like that in the live action where he was trying to rescue her, but maybe for a selfish reason. I didn't like
Yeah.
him playing just a hero to try to get Harley Quinn out. I was like, that's not the Joker, to
No.
me. And I think another issue I'm seeing
No,
with
they
this
turned they
Birds.
turned them into like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're way too lovey-dovey, and it's like it's in a they're hiding the fact that it's an abusive relationship. And there was actually a scene that was even cut, like where he actually had slapped her at one point. And it's not like I want them to glorify abuse or anything, but you got to show that arc for the character. Otherwise, you're not really getting the full character.
And these are two mental people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like with the Birds of Prey movie, if the Joker's not in it at all, then it's gonna feel like a movie is missing pretty much. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna feel like something is missing because how can you go from the end of Suicide Squad to Birds of Prey without the Joker actually being
Well,
there at all?
there's that little line in it that she says she broke up with the Joker. So
But still, that I feel like that's something that we're being cheated out of if we don't actually see that in any way. You know what I'm saying? It feels like something is missing. Like you
yeah.
think about a comic book, that's not something that they would just totally jump past.
Would you
You
prefer
would
them to
actually see it.
like recast Jared Leto though? Because I don't think Jared Leto wants to be in these anymore.
And I don't think I want him in it either, to be honest. As much as I like him as an actor, he just did not find the Joker. Like he did all this crazy, stuff on like my method acting stuff on
Mhm.
set, but I don't think he really found the character. So yeah, I would rather see the Joker
See,
recast.
and I liked parts of it. I did like what they try to do, like turn him into because the Joker's always kind of been a gangster. Um, I do like when they go in the direction of the Joker being more of like a terrorist. I
Yeah,
think that fits it better. But there are some great stories where Joker's more of a gangster, right? And that's what they tried to do. They just kind of screwed it up because I could see Jared Leto's Joker actually being terrifying if they did it right. But it seemed like somebody that didn't know who the Joker really was wrote
yeah.
him like, "Oh, it'll be crazy with all the knives and these tattoos and stuff." Like, no, that's not what makes him scary. That's not what makes him the Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, there is no dialogue. It's odd to see a performance with the Joker and there's not like one really major quotable, even the one that was almost quotable, like from the very first teaser, like I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad.
Yeah. See, I like
The
that.
I still like that, but the way that it actually was, once it came down to the final cut of the movie, they ruined it. Like the
Yeah,
editing was so bad, and
where
I
they
heard
put
that
like a
Jared
10
Leto
filters
was,
on it.
yeah, I heard that Jared Leto was really not happy about that, and I don't
Yeah.
blame him, because I think the editing was a part of the reason why his performance fell flat. So
Yeah, because like so according to him, there's like an hour more of footage, and yeah, it would make sense. It seems like they just cut and pasted certain parts of it. I mean, you
mm,
can do that to like say you took Robert De Niro in Goodfellas and reduced his part to like 5 minutes, and it's like yeah, and you just put these random little parts in there, or even Joe Pesci in that, and it's gonna look horrible because you just don't have any build up to anything.
yeah, and they were able to cut so much because he wasn't integral to the plot. That's something
Yeah.
that they got to work out. They got to figure out how to if they're going to do this. They're kind of still having a shared universe, although not 100%, but if they're going to do that even slightly, they got to figure out a better way to get him in the mix, basically.
Yeah. Well, getting back to this current trailer, that's one thing that worries me is I get the vibe of a bunch of unnecessary characters. Focus on Harley Quinn. I mean, the focus is on her, but these other characters seem unnecessary. I mean, I guess I have to wait for the actual story. Um, but yeah, I just don't think I
I
even
don't I
care
don't think
about
it's
the other ones.
that they're unnecessary, but I think that they might not be done justice, no pun intended. But
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think they might be done justice. And that's really on I just mentioned this in another video that I did where I was talking about some DC pops that I would like to see made. DC is just not, and Warner Brothers are not doing as well as pushing their characters as Marvel is. Marvel is making C and D level characters household names, and DC and Warner Brothers are just not doing that enough
No.
because they keep leaning on the most popular characters.
And I don't know if it's because, I'm someone that's pretty nerdy. There's a lot of deep cut DC characters that I have never heard of. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's part of it, that they go like, look, dude, people have just never heard of these characters, right?
Yeah.
Which in Marvel, some of these other ones, like I've pretty much heard of all the ones, even the ones that are supposed to be obscure. I've heard of all of them before. And I don't know if it's just because I read more Marvel as a kid or what, or they just through osmosis, Marvel has just done a better job um, throughout the decades introducing their characters to people. I don't know what it is. Um, what I did like about the trailer though was, like, did you catch the Material Girl kind of reference, like the Madonna Material Girl
Yeah.
video?
Yeah.
So I think that's what's taking place in Harley Quinn's head, because I can't imagine how something like that fits into the story. And I feel like there's gonna be maybe some, she's gonna start telling a story, and then you're gonna see like these scenes, and they're gonna be totally like fantasy.
I hope there's not too much of that though, just because I think Harley Quinn kind of sets her own iconography. I don't want to see her going too much off of classic iconography. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, if it's just that one moment that kind of evokes like Madonna or Marilyn Monroe, that's fine. But I hope they don't do that too much though, because, like I said, I really want her to stand apart on her own.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it would kind of take me out of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. See, and I like stuff like that. But yeah, if they do it too much, yeah, it's like relying on it. But I am curious to see how they're gonna weave that in, and if it is little fantasy things or just the way she interprets things, I could see there being a lot of comedy there,
Yeah.
and a way to tell her backstory without straight up just telling you.
Well, yeah, and speaking of like, we're talking about Marvel and how they they push those characters that people are not super familiar with. Have you actually seen all the Fantastic Four pops that are coming out?
Yes, I took a look at them, and I'm liking them.
Yeah, dude, they got Mole Man in the mix. I mean, that
Yeah.
shows you like there's Mole Man. They got Super Scroll, which I really love. Super Scroll.
Hmm.
He was actually a playable character in Marvel versus Capcom 3, and
Okay.
yeah, he's a really dope
Who's
character.
the robot? That's
Um,
the
I,
one. See that one? I don't know.
I believe his name is Herbie. I'm not super familiar with him. I mean, he's kind of old school. I'm sure there's been some updated version of him, but he's a character I don't think that gets used a lot.
Yeah, see, I
But
have
I
never even seen that before.
but I see, and that's the type of thing I like though, that with the Funko Pops, at least, they're going kind of deep cut with some of the characters. And I like these designs, that they have for them. Fantastic Four, I mean, they just look cool. I think it's going to be a big challenge, to bring them into the MCU. That's something I'm thinking about. But as far as the figures are concerned, I'm definitely hyped. Like a lot of people, though, I'm waiting to see like what's going to be the size for Galactus.
Well, he looks, because look at the body. He looks like he is definitely going to be way bigger. Because, like, look at his head size compared to his body size. His proportions look like that of a 6-inch pop to me.
Yeah, he's got to be that at least. I still think it's a little odd. They're doing a 10-inch version of the thing, and it's like, I mean, hello, like why not a
Yes.
10-inch
Yeah.
version of Galactus? It seems so obvious. I don't understand these decisions sometimes, but I'm not going to complain too much because again, these characters are looking pretty good, and I think this is going to actually help to create more hype to see how the Fantastic Four get brought into the MCU, which
Yeah.
there's so many different avenues they could take there. I mean, they could like do like a parallel universe type thing where the characters already exist and they bring them in
Mhm.
somehow. I even thought about the idea that I know there's been times where they were actually like heroes, but they were going to other realms to be heroes or whatever. So maybe they already exist as heroes, but they just haven't been on Earth for a while or something like that. You know, I
Maybe.
I, I do hope they find some way to make it where they're established. I do not want to see their origin again already.
I kind of disagree with you on that one. Maybe not so much with a Fantastic Four, um, but yeah, you run into the problem of, okay, if they already exist, well, where were they during Endgame and all that? Like, don't you think they should have helped? I mean, Captain Marvel did or something like that. I wouldn't mind them even doing it like how they did Spider-Man, where they don't really have to show his origin, but they are newer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because them just existing, and I'm not a big fan of the parallel universe thing either. And like the way I would like to see maybe the X-Men introduced would be that something happens, right? And mutations start happening after everything. Like, because you can't just bring in the X-Men. I mean, unless you use, like you say, a parallel dimension. I'm not a fan of that. I just want the X-Men, just mutations to start happening. Just all of a
Well,
sudden, teenagers are having powers, and the Avengers don't know what the hell to do with it. And at first, they're misunderstood, and it's X-Men versus the Avengers. I'd prefer something like that, like the dawn of the mutant, to be the story.
Well, and I do agree. I get what you're saying about like maybe a younger Fantastic Four coming into the mix, and maybe they're kind of off the grid right now. They're not fully superheroes. That could work. But with the X-Men, I think the smartest way to go about that is if they're not going to do parallel universe type thing. Okay, they already have Scarlet Witch established, and within the comics, she's notorious for that storyline where she said that famous line, "No more mutants," and a lot of the mutants got wiped out just from her saying that because she's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So what if, as a result of all the trauma that she's gone through, especially, the loss of vision, maybe she realized that she thinks the world needs more heroes. So maybe there's something where she triggers this
That's a good
beginning of the
idea.
mutation. So it'd be
Actually, I
like the
like
flip.
that.
Yeah, instead of the flip of instead of her taking mutants out, maybe she helps to trigger them, starting to develop because the world does need more heroes. But
Yeah.
I do trust in Kevin Feige to find some way to bring them in without it feeling jarring necessarily, and I think that they will have Avengers versus X-Men at some point, and that is going to be ridiculous. That's going to be amazing, pretty much. There's
Yeah.
also the
So,
rumor of Wolverine versus Hulk, which we'll see if that happens.
oh yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, I would. I actually really like your Scarlet Witch idea. Now that I'm thinking about it more. But yeah, of these pops though, I'm really liking that thing. I have the original Silver Surfer, and I've always thought that the black eyes on the original Silver Surfer don't look good. It's a great looking pop. It's just the black eyes I didn't like, and it looks like they're doing
Yeah.
them white with a black outline. I still prefer just silver, but I think the white does look better.
Yeah, I think they're probably doing the whites still just to make sure they stand apart, that they don't just
Mhm,
totally blend.
mhm.
Yeah, and it's so tough to set silver apart from silver, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm really looking forward to having Doctor Doom. And I think Doctor Doom is going to be one of the next major villains. I really think Doctor Doom and Galactus are going to be the next two big villains
yeah, I want to
for the
see
MCU.
Galactus. Galactus is what I want to see.
And I want him as an actual large, like just
Yeah.
massive guy. Like I don't want that. Please, I know they're not going to do the cloud thing again.
No, well, they did the cloud thing because they couldn't actually put Galactus in it. But
Yeah,
with Thor Ragnarok, with Guardians of the Galaxy, they've proven, and the audiences have proven that we are willing to see some really wacky shit on screen. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
give us Galactus. We're like ready for it. We love it. I want like that's what I want. I want crazy cosmic Marvel universe stuff.
Yeah, all they have to do is, I mean, it's really the personalities that make it grounded. It just having these fantastical characters, but they speak, just like humans speak. And they joke with each other and they're sarcastic and all those types of things. That's what grounds it, and they're good at that. So yeah, we can I think take on a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, you just think about if you go back, even when the MCU was first starting, I think people wouldn't have believed that the average audience goer could follow everything that happens in Avengers Endgame. But I think they're learning to trust in the audience that we can roll with it as long as you actually treat the characters like real people.
That and I mean, okay, so my sister does not uh watch Marvel movies really. And she got dragged to Endgame by her boyfriend. And she said she fell asleep in the first 10 minutes because she's like, I had no idea what was going on. It was just way too much stuff. Like
Mm,
but she has, I mean, she's maybe watched two Marvel movies before,
mm,
right? And she's just not into it.
mm.
But to her, it was like I tried to follow it. I tried to, but it's just like my brain. It was like trying to like solve a calculus problem. You know how to do calculus.
Yeah. Well, it is a lot at this point, and that's why I'm thinking that with Phase 4 and beyond, that it's good that they're shifting their focus in a lot of ways and focusing on some other characters because at this point, I mean, it is 11 years. It's like 11 years or so
Mhm.
worth of movies. So it is that time to make it so that other people can hop aboard. Take it back to basically issue one with some of the characters. And there's going to be characters that carry over, like, of course, like Black Panther, and they're keeping some of the characters we already know are going on Disney Plus with those series. So it's going to be a mix, and I'm really looking forward to all of that, what they do with it.
Now this Human Torch pop, this isn't the same as the other one that was coming out, right?
No, there's the first appearance one, and this one is just like straight up Fantastic Four.
What is the difference? I'm trying to look it
It's
up.
very subtle. Like it's not a huge difference from what I see. I think this one, I mean the one that was just revealed, he does appear to be lifting off. That's one difference that I noticed.
Yeah, he's lifting off, and he looks like he
The
has
coloring is somewhat
eyes.
different. Yeah, the
Yeah,
coloring is somewhat
classic one
different as
doesn't have
well.
this.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I'm gonna go for the specialty series one as well, the
really?
glow in the dark.
I'm liking this. I'm liking the floating, and I am liking the eyes on this new one. Even though, yeah, the classic one is cool. I do like the classic stuff, but I'm liking this one a little better.
Mm.
Kind of surprised they didn't do like an Invisible Woman, 100% invisible as a chase. Surprised at that.
Well, they didn't announce it as a chase, but you never know. That might still be a variant that gets done, like a store
Yeah.
exclusive. I'm sure they want to leave it open. If this is a successful line, which I think is
Mhm.
going to be, they're gonna be able to do more already.
Could be too with the bobbleheads. The translucent might be kind of hard to do.
Yeah, that is still a tough thing, and she's like, it's not like Iceman where there's like that slight blue to him. Like she is
Hmm.
completely clear. So yeah, with a bobblehead, that is tough. So and I mean they did what they could, at least with her legs. They're transparent. So I guess they did what they could there, and she does have the force fields on her hands.
Yeah, and for you guys listening, if you want to look at these pops, we should have mentioned that they're on Funko's blog. So just go to funko.com, go to their blog,
Yeah,
and you'll see it there if you want to take a good look
and
at these pops.
yeah, really any of their social media, they tend to share these things. Instagram, Twitter, wherever. It's pretty easy to track down their official reveals. Um, Now, before we get into our main topic, I do want to ask you, because I did mention Kevin Feige. What do you think about him taking on a Star Wars project?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. So it's interesting. Okay, I think definitely, the Star Wars franchise, how it was a little bit rudderless, right? This thing needs some direction. Feige, I think, out of anybody, is probably the best bet to do that. The thing is, like, maybe he's spreading himself thin.
Mm,
Too many
yeah.
projects. He can't focus on everything. Star Wars is completely different animal than Marvel. I think with Marvel, you have more leeway in just switching, like changing characters, where in Star Wars, you can't really do that.
Well, I think he's already said that he doesn't want to have any of the classic characters within it. That he wants this to be something fresh,
That would be
which
smart.
it needs to be. It really does need to be, because I think that's the issue with the latest trilogy. It's leaned on nostalgia way too much,
Yeah.
and that's kind of made it uninteresting in a lot of ways. So, and then even with some of the new characters they brought in, they haven't been handled as best they could. So I do think, I will say, with Kevin Feige coming on board, I don't think fans should think of that as an automatic win,
Yeah.
because it's about finding that right project with the right creator. I mean, you think back to
And he had to
like
have
when
complete control. They
mm,
can't try to like, they can't treat him like when somebody hires a chef to cook a meal, and then the person that's hiring him is telling him how much salt and pepper to use. You know what
well,
I
no,
mean? You have
no,
to let the guy do his own
I
thing.
think they're gonna let him do his thing. I think they will give him that room to do it, but I still feel like that's not an automatic win, because you think about, Bryan Singer. He started off strong with the X-Men, even though I still feel like the first X-Men movie is a little bit overrated, but the X-Men 2 was like really good.
Hmm.
And then he went to do Superman, and he gave a Superman Returns, which was just all nostalgia, nothing original, nothing really interesting there. So I don't think the creator always leads to an automatic win. So we'll hope for the best and see what happens there. But I think that, yes, yeah, going with new characters is definitely starting off on the right foot there.
Yeah, and I like new characters like in Rebels and in Clone Wars. Some of the new characters they introduced are great, like Asajj Ventress and Seven Sister. I think Seven Sister would be great in live action, and Ahsoka. They don't have to always be somehow rooted or related to the original characters.
Yeah. Yeah, just let it be in the universe, and really give us something different, and please go to some different planets. Like, I'm so sick of seeing the same planets again and again.
Snow planet, sand planet, forest planet, man.
I don't
That's
want
what
to
you're gonna
see
get.
I don't want to see another giant weapon blowing something up. Like,
No.
just give us something different.
That's
And
why I'm excited about the Mandalorian. It looks like it's gonna be a little bit smaller scale
yeah,
and cool. It just looks cool to me.
and an amazing cast. So I'm even gonna
Yeah.
check that out because I mean I'm obviously I'm gonna get Disney Plus
I know,
because
dude, Werner
all that
Herzog, dude. That's
yeah
gonna be awesome.
his voice is so great.
Yeah,
But
I love Werner Herzog.
Disney Plus just, I mean, Marvel alone has sold me on it. So I mean, I'm going for it. At first I was annoyed, like I'm like another streaming service, but with the way Netflix has been lately, I'm like I need something else.
Oh, really? Disney
Netflix is
Plus,
not
man.
cutting it.
What? It's gonna be $6? I was like,
Yeah,
shit, six
yeah, it's
bucks.
not.
If it would have said 14.99, I'd be like, I don't know.
Six
I
bucks is not
seem
bad at
like, but
all.
$6 is not bad. They're probably gonna raise that eventually.
Yeah,
Even if it was at $10, I still think for $10 because yeah, they're gonna have all the Marvel stuff. They're gonna have a few new shows, all the Star Wars stuff, and it looks like they're gonna have like all what 30 seasons of The Simpsons, something like that.
yeah, and they got of course Disney movies. I mean, that's a lot there. There's a whole lot there.
And
So,
if you
and
got
I'm
kids, man,
yeah, it's
it's
easy.
that's a big play. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, that's an easy choice. So it's gonna do big. There are some other networks that are trying, and I'm just like, why are you bothering? Like NBC, I don't care.
No,
I don't care at all.
yeah,
I think CBS has one if it's not already established already. But it's
they're
just
gonna
like some of
fail.
these networks, it's like, why try? Why bother?
Yeah, it's like
But
you do stupid shows with commercials in them. Stick to what you know. Stick to sports. Stick to all that.
and like NBC, snatching the Office back from other streaming services, all that's going to lead to is people buying them on, Blu-ray and DVD or, pirating them or whatever. They're not going for that streaming service just for one show.
Yeah, it's
So
like the reason we like streaming services is because our bill can be $30 a month for our entertainment. Like we got sick of paying $170 for shitty ass cable with commercials in it, mind you. Um, and the whole point of streaming services is to save money and not have to deal with commercials and just paying for what we want. And if all these companies think that they're going to put out 20 different streaming services and our bill is going to be right back to where it started, they're crazy.
yeah, it's not going to work. But yeah, I think we should at this point go ahead and get into this topic that I'm pretty sure people do want us to address. And I've had people ask me to address it on my channel, which I tend to stay away from talking about mystery boxes just because it's not my thing. It
Yeah.
it hasn't been for a long time. I think early on in collecting, my feelings about it were like really I would say I'm thankful to mystery boxes just because that's how I made a great friend. When Nerd Block was a thing, and they did their Vinyl Palooza, which was basically I didn't know at the time, being a new naive collector, I didn't realize that it was basically a stock dump.
Hmm.
They were getting rid of pops that
But
were
the way they
unwanted.
did it, they weren't promising grails and stuff, were they? It was
No,
just like, hey
no,
man, this is just random. That's a little
no.
different.
Yeah. But because I did a trade based off of Vinyl Palooza with somebody else that got a Vinyl Palooza box, we became friends and we're still friends to this day. So on a personal level, I'm thankful to that mystery box, but mystery boxes in general, they just don't do it for me.
And to be clear, we're not talking about like the Fun Days tube, that we
No.
recently got. We're not talking about um, the Funko, what do they call the Marvel Collector Core box. We're not talking
No,
about
no.
that kind of stuff. We're
That's yeah,
talking
and that's a
about
subscription box.
third-party
Yeah.
companies that get pops and have basically a jackpot. They have
Yeah.
these are the really expensive ones in there that you can possibly get if you buy our mystery boxes. Those are the ones we're talking about.
Yeah, it's essentially gambling. I mean, that's really what it is. It's gambling. It's going after that grail, that's very enticing.
Which is cool, man. I gamble myself, just not
Yeah,
on mystery boxes.
so yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna completely put it down, but it's not my thing though. Like I'm just not into that because as a collector, like I would rather just go ahead and get what I want instead of a chance at something that I might like. And especially for people that do mystery boxes on a regular basis, like, especially with YouTubers, you can see it. I mean, you just look at some people's backgrounds and it's just like dozens and dozens of pops that they may not
Random.
even be interested in.
That, and you got to think about, like, look, When people go, oh no, no, this one company, man, their mystery box is legit, dude. You get more than what you spend and all this bullshit, right? But you got to think about it. Okay, so if this company puts out 100 mystery boxes and you bought all 100 of them, guess what? The value is going to be half of what you spent because that's basic business, man. It's like you get something, you sell it, and your return on it is basically 50%. You buy something for 5, you sell it for 10, and there's your profit. That's basic business. And that's what these mystery box companies are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people they'll get they get these boxes and then they're looking at the trending value and they're like, okay, well, some people say, well, I didn't make my money back or I did make my money back, but they're not considering literally, even though you're looking at that trending value, you might as well go ahead and say that value is literally going down because more than likely you're not the only one receiving those pops unless you did look up and get a grail on those rare occasions. But if a lot of people are getting those same pops, that value is going down, and it's like when you look at the value still doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to sell it at that price
Well,
because
and
there
that's
might
even
not
if
be
a
anybody
grail is
interested.
put out. Like, there's nothing holding these companies accountable. You know, they could say that, there's grails in there, but
Yeah.
how are you gonna prove it?
Yeah. And I mean, you can't like going off just a couple of YouTube videos is really not enough. Like this is you don't know whether
No,
they're
and then like
legit
these
or not.
companies can say like if they put $1,000 pop in one of the boxes, how do you know that whatever Instagram account posted it that they got it? How do you know that's real? That could just
Y-
be the same company giving it to a friend that's gonna give it back.
You know what it makes
It
me
could be
think
fake.
about? What it makes me think about is like Loot Crate. And I know they're not a mystery box necessarily. That's a subscription box, although it was some mystery to it.
Hmm.
But remember, they would always have in their little brochure thing, they would say like the Mega Crate. I've
I don't
as
remember.
long as I've been on YouTube, I've never seen anybody win the so-called Mega Crate. And it's
Yeah.
like like again, like you said, are companies really being held accountable? Because they could say there's these major prizes, but unless you actually see it, is it really legit? It could be just to draw people in.
And then what bugs me too is some of these YouTubers, I don't want to name any specifically, but you do have some clowns out there that are obviously getting sent these boxes to promote.
Mm.
And they don't really disclose it, or they disclose it very vaguely in almost a predatory way. And oh, oh look, I got an $80 pop in this $50 mystery box, and then a couple other ones and stuff. But that they're getting sent these boxes. They're like a loaded box, right? So it's false advertising.
Yeah,
And worst of all, it's false advertising to maybe
it's
maybe children.
misleading. Yeah.
Yeah, it's misleading. Maybe children are watching, and there's nothing stopping a 14-year-old, 13-year-old from buying this because they haven't caught on that this is actual gambling. Eventually, I don't know, there might be a crackdown on this kind of stuff, who knows. um, but to me that's very misleading, and it's very
And
dishonest, and
it's
it's disgusting.
illegal. That's
It is
it. It's
illegal.
it is illegal. You cannot, and like you said, some people are very vague about saying that the box was sent to them. Or they say I got a box from, and it doesn't really mean like they're not clear about okay, was it sent to you for free or did you purchase it? Just
Yeah.
saying I got this from such and such. It's like you got to be clearer than that. That's why I noticed like some major YouTubers they'll actually make sure they put a little box up in the corner of the screen like this
Mhm.
includes a paid promotion.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
when you
very
upload your
obvious
video you
about it.
can check that, and it'll even pop up too.
Yeah, they give you that option, and I'm like, there's a lot of people that aren't clicking that option, and yet they're getting things sent to them, and they know that they're getting hooked up. Again, that is very misleading. And I will say this though, because it does make it tough for YouTubers. Because I remember one time, like, there's just one time I tried Toy Tokyo's mystery box because they did have a couple of figures pictured that I was like, okay, it'd be nice if I get one of these. Let me just try it one time because I had some extra cash on hand.
Hmm.
So I got it, and it was a bust. I got a South Park pop. I got a Cartman pop, which I really wasn't collecting South Park. I just got Goth Sand. That was the only one that I wanted to keep in my collection. I actually, bought that straight up. But so I had a Cartman pop I wasn't interested in. I got a My Little Pony pop. Definitely wasn't interested in that. And then I got the one of the Pop Asia Stan Lee's, which was a cool pop, but the
Hmm.
box was damaged,
Yeah, of course.
so yeah, exactly. But I was looking at the comments, and there were some people saying things like, I'm glad you're not one of these YouTubers that's faking an unboxing and, this and that or whatever. But then I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if I had gotten something that was cool, does that automatically have people thinking that I got hooked up by a company just because I'm a YouTuber? So I feel like it's almost like a lose-lose
Yeah,
situation in a way being a
definitely.
YouTuber, because if you get something awesome and you legitimately get something awesome, you're still going to have people saying you only got it because you're so and so.
Hmm.
And then if you get garbage, it's like there's people that are happy about that because, oh, you didn't get hooked up, but at the same time, you got garbage. So it really is
Actually,
like lose-lose.
in my very last video, I thought about that because I got sent a box from Pop in a Box. They sent to me for free, and I totally made it very clear in the video that I got this for free, right? So keep that in mind. And one of the pops that I asked for was the Vivian pop from Pretty Woman. And I was thinking, I was like, if they pack in the chase in there, I'm going to make it super clear. I'm going to reiterate that, look, not everyone's going to get a chase. Obviously, they put that in there maybe to get me to talk about how you can get a chase from Pop in a Box. They didn't put it in there, which was kind of good. So I had, I could avoid all that, even though I would have liked it. But yeah, I would have felt guilty getting it because I would have gotten it because I'm making a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's and something else I gotta say, of course, focusing on YouTube again with these mystery boxes is, and we kind of touched on this previously, but you got to be careful as a YouTuber about how you spend money for content. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there are a lot of people spending money on mystery boxes for content because sometimes it does get good views, but is it really worth it? Even if you are growing an audience slowly, like still, is it really worth it? I know it's definitely not worth it in terms of AdSense. The money that you make off of those videos
Well,
definitely
let me
does
put
not
it this
cover
way.
that.
If you spend $300 on a mystery box and you pull $150 of value out of it, and let's just say you're going to sell them off because you don't like any of them really, and you're going to try to get that 150 bucks back to soften that hit of that $300 you spent, right? You know how many views the actual video is going to have to get for you to break even? It's gonna have to at least have 150,000 views on it. And if you don't get 150,000 views on there, you're losing because 150,000 can, if you have a bad CPM, can get you 150 bucks.
Yeah, even if you get big ads on there, I mean, you could get less views and get more money still, but it's not going to make up for that.
Yeah.
It's just not going to cover that. So, yeah, I don't really get the idea of buying mystery boxes just for the sake of content. I don't think that's worth it. I think there's better ways to get views. I think personality gets you views more than anything. There are a lot of big YouTubers that barely spend anything on the
Mm-hmm.
cost of their actual videos. A lot of times, like there's this one guy I watch, he does video game content, and
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher his name. I'm not even going to say the name because I just don't want to butcher it and disrespect him in that way. But I'll just say that this guy, all he does is he reads articles about games and he shares his thoughts. That's it. It costs him
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there sharing his thoughts. But the guy is articulate, he's knowledgeable, he has a good personality. He's not pouring money into his videos, but he's getting good views out of it. It's a personality thing. So, yeah, just opening up a mystery box just for the content, that's not really worth it to me in the long run.
Well, I honestly believe that a lot of people watch mystery box videos. The main draw of it is Schadenfreude, which means basically taking pleasure in the misery of others,
Yeah,
right?
there's
I
some of
think
that.
a lot of
Yeah.
people really like watching those, to watch somebody stupidly spend money and get crap out of those, right? It's the same reason that we laugh at somebody getting kicked in the nuts, right? Getting
Yeah.
kicked in the nuts sucks. But if it happens to another guy, especially a guy you don't like, it's funny.
Yeah, and then you have the other side of it too, where some people actually want to see people get something cool, and then it's like they're living vicariously through them because they didn't spend the money, but they get to see, somebody getting something awesome, and maybe if they're a really empathetic person, they get a good feeling out of that. But still, like, is that really worth it for the YouTuber? I don't think so.
Well,
Not in the long run.
maybe you're more positive than me. I definitely think it's
Well, that
99% people want to watch somebody do something stupid.
Well, look, from looking at the comments, there are some more, positive people out there. I see a lot of people that are positive when somebody actually gets something awesome. They do congratulate them and things like that. But, um,
But is that is that is
even though
that
I'm saying
nice?
positive, Even though I'm saying
Because
positive, at the same time, there is that predatory element as well.
yeah, because is it really nicely go like, yeah, hey, good job, man, keep it up, keep it up. I was like, yeah, but is it really good for them to tell them good job that you got that pull so they go and buy more boxes? Probably not, man. It's like congratulating somebody for being able to drink a 24 pack without dying.
Mm. Well, I don't know. It depends. Because some people, and you know what, some people will say right away, and I might as well go ahead and address this. Some people say, well, people have money to spend. That's on them. And
Of
yes, there
course.
are some people that do have that income to do it. So, I mean, like I said, people can do what they want to with their money regardless. But, there are some people that really can't afford it like that. And they're doing it anyway because they're trying to get the views. They're trying to build up an audience. But it does hurt them financially in the long run. And it can be addictive too. Like this whole thing that's going on with loot boxes and video games, all that
Oh, it's
drama and
definitely addictive.
everything.
I mean, it's gambling. Gambling
Yeah,
is one of the most addictive things there are.
yeah. And but I was about to say too that I know for some people it is kind of predatory to go to these mystery unboxings because then you have people that they'll see what somebody gets and then all of a sudden they're private messaging them, hey, you want to sell such and such, you want to trade such and
Yeah.
such, and they're just aggravating them. And I know that's an issue that some people on social media have had with people just irritating them and aggravating them trying to get pops from them. So there
See,
is
I
that
stay off
predatory element.
social media, so I don't really have any experience with that. I really like people go, "Why don't you have an Instagram?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude, I'm too busy." Or, "Why don't you have Twitter?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude." I mean, I think I have a Twitter, but I never do anything with it.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you have
just
to pick
I'm
and
too
choose your
busy.
social media. Basically, it's too much. It's you have to pick and choose pretty much.
Yeah.
Can't be on everything.
You
But
know,
yeah,
one thing that kind of pisses me off about some of these YouTubers with the mystery boxes is the clickbait. I've seen some of the crap that they pull. Like say they bought 10 mystery boxes for 30 bucks each, right? So that's $300 they spent on these mystery boxes, right?
mhm.
But then in the title of it, they'll go opening 10 $300 mystery boxes. And you're like, no, no, you're not opening 10 $300 mystery boxes. You're opening up 10 boxes that cost you $300 total, you
Yeah.
know, and it's complete clickbait. And you're like,
Mhm.
dude, really? It's like, do you really have to be that cheap?
And this is me on a just on a personal level. I know for some people maybe it does excite them, but I don't care what you spent. I really don't. Like I just that's something that on my channel, like you'll rarely hear me talk about, very rarely hear me ever talk about what I spent unless it was a good deal. Like I like to talk, I'm that type of person. If I feel like I got a good deal on something, I might mention it, but I'm not gonna brag about how much I spent on something. And it's kind of odd anyway to brag about how much you spend on something and then you get garbage out of it. It's
Well,
like,
dude, well that's that Schadenfreude, man. People like to watch
mm,
people do stupid shit, man.
and I think some people do play that up. They really do play it that up. They're aware of that and they play it up basically,
Yeah.
and they act so distraught in this or whatever. But then before you know it, they're putting up that next mystery box video.
Hmm.
So apparently your feelings weren't too hurt if you're still at it. I'm not a gambler because I'm telling you my feelings get hurt. Like I don't want to waste my money. Like if I buy a lotto ticket and I don't get anything, I'm probably not going to buy another lotto ticket for months. Like
Yeah.
it's not my thing. So
I
yeah.
rarely do it. I'll gamble when I'm in Vegas and we're all having a good time, something like that. I used to play poker. Uh, Actually, those times where I was playing poker, yeah, it's great. It's great to win, but then I felt guilty. Like there was this one time, man, I beat this old man out of like $400 in one pot, and I had a really great hand, and I had him completely fooled. And he had an okay hand, not something great, but the way I had him fooled, he had a good enough hand to think that I had garbage, right? And when he shoveled like his $400, towards me, yeah, I was like, oh, cool, 400 bucks. But then this poor guy, I just felt bad, man. I just like, dude, I just took 400 bucks from this like 80-year-old man, and now he's standing up, walking away, all sad, all broke. Could have been his social security check.
Yeah, well, at least you did feel bad about it. I'm pretty sure these companies don't with these
I felt bad about
boxes
it
there.
right then, but then when
Yeah.
I was, buying my new pair of shoes, I felt pretty good.
And with gambling too, in that form of gambling, I mean, you can possibly get money out of it. Now, I'm not a gambler myself, so even with that, like I said, very rarely will I gamble. But if I'm gonna gamble, I think I rather would gamble for money than over pops because as a collector, I'm going after my fandoms. And that's something else that just doesn't appeal to me when it comes to mystery boxes. Like I don't want these random pops that might be for properties that I don't care about. I have no connection to. And I've seen this a lot recently, especially with those the Funko Shop mystery boxes that came out where people got, I believe it was 6 pops in there. And so many people got like Harry Potter pops and
Not even Harry Potter,
just
man. It was Fantastic Beasts.
yeah. Yeah, so like those things I'm not interested in it, so it's like why would I go for this when there's such a great chance of getting fandoms that I have no interest in. It's just something I don't understand that me personally as a collector. Like I said, I'm mainly about Marvel, DC, horror, and then there's some other things in the mix like Rick and Morty, Bob's Burgers, those types of
Mhm.
things. So I go after specifically what I'm interested in. I don't want random figures. I'm not into that.
One of my subscribers recently sent me a message talking about this pop that they really wanted that they bought. It was the pink. No, which one was it? Either a pink or a purple chrome Batman, something like that. 400 or no, not Batman, Freddy Funko. I think it was a pink chrome Freddy Funko, I believe, and it was like something like 425 pieces. That's very rare, and pink is their favorite color, and they wanted it. They spent over $100 on it. Now, for the 120 bucks that he spent, now he has the pop he really wanted, where he could have gone out and spent $50 on 3 mystery boxes, been out 150 bucks, gotten back $75 worth of pops he doesn't want. It's like if you're gonna spend that kind of money because you're trying to get one of these grails, just go buy the grail.
Yeah, exactly. That's another really good point. Some people spend so much money into these boxes. Like, do you realize how many cool pops you could have had into your collection
Yeah,
by now?
yeah,
Like, especially it is ridiculous when somebody's getting the same box over and over and over because they keep saying, "I'm hoping I get this Grail. I'm hoping to get this Grail." Yeah, just get the Grail. Like,
yeah.
just go ahead and buy it directly. Maybe that's not as much of a thrill for you, but I know for me personally, like if I'm able to buy a Grail straight up, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
When I got the Buff Rick and Summer, I was like, finally, I was able to get it, and I didn't have to like scramble for it and everything. I just had to wait, find that right time when I had the money available and go for it, as opposed to like I can imagine going through mystery boxes constantly trying to get that. That
No,
would be
and
such a
this guy
headache.
was smart. He was smart. He made it off like the guy wanted more on eBay, and he made an offer and
Mhm.
knocked 30 bucks off of it, and the guy agreed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
well,
just
there you go.
yeah, just go for what you want. That's my personal feeling about it. And I want to get back to it because I think we both have kind of parodied it on our, and I might be saying that wrong, but we both have parodied it before on our channels.
What are you talking about?
Um, the whole mystery box thing, the way that is played up with thumbnails and all of that.
I didn't
And
do a parody, man.
say again,
I didn't do a parody.
you sure?
That was real, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, some people may have thought it was real, never know. But if they didn't figure that out from the beginning, I think they would get it by the end when they see the grail that you got, basically.
Well, dude, I ended up selling that for 500 bucks.
But my thing too is with that some of these thumbnails they do get a little ridiculous, and again I'm not gonna call anybody's name, but there are just times when I want to when I see certain thumbnails and I'm like, just dude, close your mouth. Like I'm so tired of the
Yeah, they
mouth
they
gaped
look like a blow
open,
up doll.
the mouth gaped open and the light shining out of the box like they're Vincent in Pulp Fiction looking at the briefcase. It's like come on, like just you
It's
don't
the
have to
face
play
that
it up.
gets me, man. It's just like, dude, what do you look like right now, man? It's like it looks like
Yeah,
you're.
and it's
I
like
mean, I don't want to get too crude, but it looks like they're getting.
and then when you line these like thumbnails up side by side by side, you really start to see like if you go to somebody's channel and you see all these thumbnails that look that way, it just looks ridiculous. Like, and I mean, again, I'm not totally against mystery boxes. I think there are some people that really just have, fun with it, and sometimes they do get things that they're, really interested in, but and they don't present it in such a goofy, over the top way, like and sometimes I do watch those videos. Sometimes they appeal to me, but like if I see those types of thumbnails, then I really lose interest personally. Like it just seems so over the top to me.
There's something about that though, man, because not just mystery boxes, not just Funko YouTubers, like that's been a thing on YouTube for a long time. The people making that super shocked, um, yeah, round mouth with the eyes wide open. I don't know what it is about that that people like clicking on that. I don't know, or they go, oh my god, this guy looks like he's out of his mind, or this guy looks like an idiot. Let me click on the video and look at this idiot.
And part of that though is, and this is again where it gets kind of scummy. I think that some people realize that stuff like that does catch the attention of kids. Kids
Yeah,
look for like those outlandish, silly faces and
yeah,
maybe the huge numbers impress them and things like that. And that's where, to me, like I said, it gets kind of scummy because you're basically showing kids that you're basically teaching them about gambling, basically, like that this is cool, like this is something that's fun or whatever. So yeah, it gets a little scummy and
you're
it makes
teaching
you.
them that you can win at gambling is what you're teaching them, which is even
Yeah,
worse because
yeah,
especially these ones where they have rigged boxes. It's
yeah.
like, dude, why don't I just make a video about teaching kids how to play blackjack, and I just happen to win. I'll just load the deck where I win every single time. Like, look, kids, you can make a lot of money playing blackjack. Look, collecting plastic here. Your friend just won every single hand, man. Go try it yourselves.
Yeah, and it's just, and to me it almost paints that unrealistic picture too, that people can throw money away like this because especially for kids, they don't see all the what's going on behind the scenes. They don't see that, some of these people that are spending all this money on these boxes, maybe they live with families, so they don't have to pay all the bills themselves. That's why they have that extra cash. They might be staying with their parents for all we know, or still they might be married and they have a spouse that has a good job and things like that, so they get to throw away some money like that. They're not,
Yeah,
people aren't seeing all that sides of it, so they think that it's cool to just throw away money like this when
or
even
they
some people don't really
themselves.
have it like that.
Like they could be, then they themselves could be the people doing it. Could be like, look, dude, this is not a 14-year-old doing this. This is somebody that's in their 30s, has a career, and when you get to that point, yeah, you can spend money on dumb stuff. You know what I mean? It's just you've worked hard. People can spend money on whatever they want. But then when you got somebody that's like 18 or 19, I'm not talking YouTubers, but people out there thinking, well, these guys are making all this money off of pops, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go try it too. And, the fact that these companies know you don't got a YouTube channel, very likely you're going to get a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, yeah, and some people will say that when they order them, they're using their real name, they're not using their YouTube name and
Oh,
this and that or
please.
whatever. And companies do learn people sometimes. I mean, it's just, especially if you have an address that's public, it's very easy. Like if you have it on your description, it's very easy for, companies do check out these videos, so they might go check out your description and see, okay, I know who this person is now. So if they order, I'll make sure I hook them up or whatever. So, and I mean, regardless, it's just, it just feels odd to me. That I keep coming back to that just because I collect to collect what I like. I just don't. I'm not into the randomness, and I'm not into that value hunting thing either. Because I think a lot of times that the value that people, like I said, add up doesn't really mean much. Because again, it's like, can you even sell that?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, my feelings about mystery boxes is basically these companies that are putting them out are smart because it's a great way to get rid of inventory nobody wants. People buying them, most of them, they know the risk. Some of them don't, but most of
Mm.
them do. So it's, nobody's, the companies are providing something that people want to buy. Good for them. It's just know that it's a business and you're always gonna lose money. You may get lucky one time, but you buy a couple more, then you're gonna get lucky again. It's gonna even out eventually, and you're always gonna lose a little bit more than you gain. This is how casinos work. Um, you may win 49% of the time with a casino, but you're gonna lose 51% of the time eventually. There's a reason that those casinos are so big and they have so many lights and they're able to build these basically these temples of gambling is because they're not losing and these companies are not losing money. You may think that, I could win. Eventually you're not going to. Maybe you can buy one Funko box one time, and if you happen to win that one time, good for you. Don't go buy more because it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, and something else that, like I said, I alluded to this earlier, is that you got to realize too, especially for people getting mystery boxes on a regular basis, if you have like this, if you end up with stacks of pops that you don't want, that is so difficult to get rid of.
It's a lot of work.
Trying to get rid of dozens of pops. I mean, if what are you gonna do? Go individually with them, and then you got to deal with all the shipping. That adds up to be a big headache. And then if you try to move pops in bulk, you're gonna lose a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
You
like
know.
if you take 20 pops to a physical brick and mortar store that buys pops, they're giving you maybe 40% of what they're worth,
Yeah.
right? And selling pops online, all the ones that you're going to want to keep, those are the ones that are easy to sell online. Those $80 pops, those $90 pops, 60, even 50, those are the easy ones. The ones that are almost impossible to sell online are those $10 pops, $12 pops, $13 pops. You're going to have to sit on those for years before they become valuable. They're going to have to be vaulted, and some may not even hit 50, but you're going to have storage, and you have to store those pops for years before they become even practical to even sell online.
Yeah. And again, people got to realize too that that trending value, whether you see it on Pop Price Guide or on the Funko app, it doesn't matter because people don't want to pay the actual value. Everybody wants to get a deal. Everybody wants to haggle. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they don't want to pay exactly what it's worth, especially if they have it in their mind that at some point they might want to resell. So they don't want to pay exactly what it's worth. You know, so
But also too, like those values, they're only up to date with whatever last sold. If
yeah.
there are no more of a certain pop available or just a couple, those people can put the price double that.
Yeah, and some people that just don't quite understand certain aspects of collecting it. And at the same time, it just I think some people worry way too much about the ins and out of other people's collections necessarily. And I mean, we're doing that to an extent with the whole mystery box thing, but as far as what people keep in their collection, I really do think it should be what you're really into, you know. But
Well,
yeah,
my
like
problem with that,
I feel like, you know, if somebody like when you think about somebody like him, you know, if you got the money, spend it, enjoy it. My concern though is with the people that don't really have it like that. That's why mystery boxes do bother me some. I know some people don't really have it like that, and it is an addiction, and then they're paying for it afterwards, even more so, you know,
yeah.
trying to get the
Well,
money back. Something else I do want to address, and this will kind of lead into a question that we got from a viewer. You notice that a lot of these mystery boxes, these companies, they will say that a certain pop, like they say, you're guaranteed an exclusive, which there's such a range of exclusives. Like that means nothing. There are we talked about this before. There are commons that have higher values than the exclusive variant.
a
So
lot
that
of
really
commons.
means nothing. And you
Well, if
think
I look
about it
at my
now.
collection, if I look at one of my walls,
mm,
I think over half of this, I mean, and I'm not somebody that even sticker hunts, but I want to say half of them have stickers on them. You know,
Yeah,
that's one and two.
yes. Yeah, and then you know something else that some companies will say is that a chase is guaranteed, and this we've addressed this before. So I know I've definitely addressed it on my channel. That chase doesn't mean what it used to mean. Like
Well,
there are so many chases out there now that have almost no value to them.
I don't know. If I see Chase guaranteed on something, I'm like, oh, it's probably going to be the cupcake from uh, Five Nights
Yeah,
at Freddy, or it's going to be a dog hand, or it's going to be, something like that.
yeah, there are literally some chases that are valued under $10. Like so, you know, automatic like saying that a chase is guaranteed. Don't get too excited about that
Yeah.
because it could be from a property that's not super popular or just a chase that is way overproduced.
Hmm.
And do you want to share exactly that the question that you have from the viewer with everybody?
Yeah. So I thought this one was really interesting. This is from Angel F3. He said, "Do you guys believe that chases should be 1 in 12 or stay at 1 in 6?" You want to go ahead and share your thoughts?
Well, I think 1 in 6 is way too common. I think that it doesn't make anything special. Actually, I don't even like knowing the rarity. When I first started collecting, this was not something that was like really made public knowledge, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure why exactly Funko started to do that. Maybe it was from people, say asking about it so much. Maybe that's why they started to share it. But I actually enjoyed not knowing and it being very random and knowing now that some chases are 1 in 6. And it's like, well, it doesn't feel very special to me because you see so many people getting that chase. And I mean, if you still like the figure, then that's what matters most. But Yeah, as far as value though, if you are the type of person that's into value, you got to realize a lot of these chases they're way overproduced. I think, like I said, 1 in 6, that's just way too many of those.
See, and I have thoughts both ways, right? So I think 1 in 6 isn't that bad of a ratio. I think it's still doable, right? When it used to be like 1 in 36, man, what happens with that when the chases are super rare, it becomes virtually impossible to get them for several reasons. It's gonna it's gonna obviously the prices on those ones are gonna be through the roof, right? And then how do you expect employees at stores that know how like rare those chases are to not hold them for themselves? Like they will never make it out to the sales floor because they know they're like, dude, I can basically buy this thing for $15 and sell it for 200 or keep it for my collection because it's so dang rare.
Well,
That's gonna happen.
well, you say that. I mean, and there are those whales out there that will buy whatever at whatever
Mhm.
price. But I think when you have so many people trying to flip the same pop, that value is going to come down quickly. You see that happening with a lot of chases. A lot of people they run out, they stake out the stores. Hot Topic was having a lot of issues with that. That's why they stopped sharing so much on social media when they had chases coming in because
Mhm.
people were staking out the stores, being nasty to each
Yeah, it's
other.
annoying.
Running in the stores and all of that nonsense. But yeah, so they stopped doing that. But it's ridiculous now because you had the same issue kind of with the 1 in 6 chases where you still get people camping out and waiting on them and everybody's trying to sell them and it's like it doesn't work that way.
Which
You
is
can't have a
insane.
bunch of people trying to sell the same figure at the same time and think you're going to be able to sell it for high value. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I just think it's a complete waste of time. I'm just like, dude,
Yeah,
I'm like, go get
that
a
that's
job
why.
and you'll make enough money to buy the damn chase for $30 on eBay.
And yeah, like, and there's so many people that keep stressing over flippers, and I'm like, they're, let's be real, flippers are not the most intelligent people. They're not exactly Lex Luthor, because they are the type of people that will camp out. They're going after these chases that really are not super rare, and all of them are trying to sell them at the same time. And it's like, if you are an intelligent collector, you know to wait and just watch that price come on down. So if you aren't able to get the chase yourself, eventually that price more than likely will come down. There are rare occasions where the value may stay high, and that's where you just have to say to yourself, okay, I can't have everything. I'm not going to stress over it. But a lot of times, if you wait, you will see the value of these chase figures come down.
Yeah, and I do think that Funko switched it to 1 in 6 was an intelligent move by them. I think it is a business move where if they put a chase in a pop that it's kind of iffy, it might not sell that much. They know there's going to be people out there that'll buy a case of 6 where they're guaranteed the chase. And what they do with the other 5, who knows? It is a way to sell more pops. People would probably second guess it if it's 1 in 12, 1 in 24, 1 in 36 to buy 36 pops to try to get that one chase. Now you're spending a whole lot of money. Um, and it's not so easy as okay, I just have to get rid of these 5. Now you got to get rid of 24 pops or 36 pops or even 12 pops.
Mm.
That's a little. I think people second guess themselves a little bit with that.
But my thing is, I kind of look at it this way to get back, to the heart of Angel's question. I don't feel like it necessarily has to be a set ratio for all chases.
Mhm.
Maybe there are times where 1 in 6 makes a lot more sense, especially if it's for a property that is like not super popular, maybe, and people want to feel like they have something, more special for you. You think about, I don't know why this came to mind. Maybe it's because I know you are a fan of the series like Veep, and
Mhm.
there's a Veep chase. That at 1 in 6, okay, I don't think people are going to, tear down stores trying to go
Yeah.
after it. And
No,
for
I think I
somebody
bought
that's
her for like $15 or $20, something like that.
yeah, it's just for somebody that's a fan of the series, that's probably a pretty cool feeling for them to have the chase. But I think it is good to mix it up sometimes. Maybe there are times where 1 in 12 makes sense, and maybe there are times where even a 1 in 36 makes sense, especially if it's like a deep cut type of thing for a particular movie or TV show or whatever it is, to where that only the truest fans would really be familiar with what the reference is anyway. So I think it can be flexible, basically.
Yeah, I mean, 1 in 12. It's kind of an interesting number. I wonder if they did start doing 1 in 12, how that would affect just the market of Funko Pops. It would be interesting. I do feel like what I said earlier about if they're more rare, less chances for it to make it onto the floor. Very high prices on eBay, and I also think that it would lower the value of the common if it were, or maybe not. Maybe it would. I don't know. It'd just be interesting to see what would happen to the commons that have chases. What would happen to the value of those?
Well, I know when it comes down to it for me, just on a personal level with chases, I go off of the design. Like, is it something I'm really
Oh
interested
yeah, for sure.
in terms of design? I will say that
Sometimes they're worse.
one, yeah, exactly. And sometimes they're very lazy, not much thought put into them, a little bit of blood splatter, that type of thing, or it's a metallic chase, but there's barely any metal paint on it, that type of thing. It's just you gotta, I think, take a look at the personal level, like how much are you actually interested in that chase as well. Like for me, being a big fan of Mr. Bean, I thought him with the turkey on his head was a great reference to a great episode. So I really like that chase. I like that type of thing from
Yeah.
Funko. One thing I hope that they don't do again, I remember, and I mean the value of the figures now is very low, but still, if you're a Star Wars fan and you wanted, was it Luke? Who was the common on the speeder bike?
I believe.
Was
I
it Luke
can't
or
remember.
Leia?
I think the common was Leia. I think, and
Yeah,
then Luke
I
was the
think you're right.
chase.
Yeah, and in that case, to me, changing the character, I'm not so cool with that. I
Yeah.
think because people might want a particular character,
I would
so
have wanted Leia. Like if I would have ordered it and got Luke, even though he was the chase, if we're correct on who was who, I would have
yeah.
been annoyed. I would have been like, God damn it, I wanted Leia.
And when I think about the scene, I mean, when I think about the movie, Leia, yeah, Leia comes to mind. She was the more prevalent within that. So yeah,
Or I
yeah,
just
I
liked her
hope.
character more. You know what I mean? So I wanted her.
And they haven't really done that again, I don't think, or maybe there have been incidents of that, but I just hope that's not something that we see
And that's an
more often.
interesting one to bring up because wasn't the ratio on that one even lower? Wasn't that one 1 in 3 or 1 in 2? I heard that's what I heard.
It might have been as low as 1 and 3 because that one there were a lot of those, and I think that's why the
Yeah.
value is pretty much nothing.
And I
Um,
think they did lower it because it had to be because of the characters, right? They're like, well, we can't make a different character a 1 in 6. That would
yeah,
be very weird.
and that goes again to, like I said, maybe it should be flexible. Maybe it should be based off of the property and what
Hmm.
exactly the chase is about. That type of thing. Then I think that makes sense to make them kind of flexible, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, or just or the more obscure something is, like say The Office, right? The chase for Jim, right, when he has the face, like he has book written on his face. Isn't that in The Office for basically a split second? Like when he's
Was
going through all his lazy Halloween costumes and you see book written on his face, it's
Yeah,
like 1 second.
yeah.
If that was 1 in 30, I think that would make sense because that's not a really super huge thing in the show.
Yeah, it would make sense. That's somewhat deep cut. Although it's odd to say deep cut about a series that's so popular, but
Hmm.
still, yeah, like you said, it's just a brief moment.
It's a very insignificant kind of. It was a throwaway joke to me. I don't know if everybody that's their favorite meme or whatever, but when I watched it, I was like, oh, that's fun. Facebook, clever, cool, funny. Um, but it wasn't like something so important to me.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I said pretty much what I want to say about that. I do want to give props to Angel for
Yeah,
that
great question.
question. Yeah, and we really do want to get questions from you all to discuss on the podcast. We really want some thoughtful questions, though. It's something we really can sink our teeth into because I mean, for example, somebody just asking like how many pops we own. There's no big discussion there, So we really like the type of questions where we really can get a discussion out of it, and kind of go back and forth.
Uh, um, if you want to ask me what my favorite color is, you can, but it'll be like a 1 second kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like there's not something much to say about that.
Yeah, and I'll just say, I'm just gonna say some people might not like me doing this, but my first pop was Morgan from The Walking Dead. I have over 700 pops, and I like long walks on the beach. There you go. So
Right.
that's the basic stuff out of the way. Like I said, I like in-depth types of questions. You know, this was not a question geared towards the podcast, but I just thought of something that somebody asked me. Just about the cons, about in fact it was about New York Comic Con. They asked, "Are there any chases?" And I said no. And I think it chases with conventions. I think that would be an absolute disaster. Like,
They've done it before.
um, but if like they were still doing that as popular as Funko is right now,
Oh, could you
well, no,
imagine?
no,
Could
that would
you
be a
imagine?
horrible idea. People would be so ugly towards other people trying to get their hands on those.
Yeah, that
And
only worked when the Funko booth was a small little table,
yeah,
at the convention. But now, because yeah, of course, all the people in the front of the line are gonna want to get the chase. Like, oh, I want the chase of it, right? But what if the Funko people are like, look, dude, we're instructed to grab the next one that's right there. So if it happens to be a chase, you can have it. If not, you get the common, and people are every single person is gonna flip out. They're gonna be
yeah,
so pissed. They're like, I see the chase right there. They're like,
yeah,
sorry, dude. Like the way we do this fairly is that there's 6 or there's 5 and a chase, 5 and a chase, and we have to grab it from the left hand side and just give it to you. It would be mayhem.
yeah. And you said a key word there, flip. Even some of these sanctified people that are like, "Oh, I don't flip pops, and I can't stand flippers." Let there be a Chase San Diego Comic Con
Oh, forget
exclusive.
it.
Let's just see how sanctified people are then,
Well, that's why
because
some of the ones that are store exclusives are so valuable, because not only is it a 1 in 6 pops, it's a 1 in 6 pops that's only available from one retailer.
yeah,
That's why, like, some of the Hot Topic chases or the Target chases are worth more than like a pop that's a common that has a chase.
yeah, like Maleficent and
Yeah,
those types
Maleficent,
of pops, yeah.
Joker with kisses.
But
I
even
think that
some
one's
of
dipped down,
those,
but that one was valuable. That was like around 80 to 90 bucks for a while.
yeah, and with those it still depends because like the ones that come in the so-called mystery boxes, even though they show you every item, because they produce so many of those and so many people buy up multiple boxes,
Hmm.
you see those values come down kind of quick too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody's checking this out, before New York Comic Con, I definitely wish you the best. I hope that you're able to get what you want. But if not, remember it's not the end of the world. The pops will still be out there in the wild, and if you don't get something day one, you can track it down. But yeah, I'm still gonna wish you the best. To at least eventually get the pops that you want the most. I've already shared my list. What I'm going after. You shared as well. What you want, right?
Yeah, yeah, I talked about that on my channel when I did the reveals. I do the reveals and I pretty much talk about which ones I kind of want, which ones I don't care about. So if you're interested in what I want from New York Comic Con, go ahead and go to my channel, watch those
Yeah.
New
So
York
you,
Comic Con reveal videos.
Yeah, so you could check out his reveal videos, and then I put one video together where I just focused on what I want to get from the convention, and yeah, like I said, some people might be checking this out while they are eagerly anticipating New York Comic Con. And like I said again, I do wish you all the best, and please do remember to give us some thoughtful questions we can dig into, and of course we'll shout you out as well. If we do address a question that you shared with us.
Yeah, good luck getting everything you want from New York Comic Con. If you can't, light the store on fire or something. Just kidding, don't do that. But yeah, good luck. Make sure you check online. Not the day of. It's usually the night before. Pay attention on Instagram and Twitter. Probably your best bets to see when things are getting released. Would be the advice I'd give you.
Yeah, just follow the community. Basically, be active on social media. Checking social media. There's plenty of people out there willing to help. So,
Oh yeah.
again, yeah, yeah. Just keep your ears open, and if you miss something, again, don't stress. Collecting should be about fun when it comes down to it.
All right, man. I think I've said all I gotta say. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll catch you all on the next one. Take care.